In April, I made £970 per day from these income sources. For each income source, I'm going to explain how much money it takes, how hard it is, how much money I made in April, and how many hours it took me in April. So let's start with the first one. Property investing is my main business. I've been doing this since 2016. I've been buying these rundown properties. I will then renovate them and then I would rent them out. Now, how much money do you need to get started in property? Typically for an investment property, you need 1/3 of the purchase price. So if this property is on for £150,000, you need 1/3 of that, which is around £50,000. So in terms of money requirement for property, I would give it 5 stars because you need a lot of money in order to get started. Now, how hard is it to get started in property investing? It does require a bit of skill, but the hardest thing in property investing is not the skill itself, it's the fact that you need money to get started. So in terms of skill, I would give this a 1 star because I just don't think it's that hard, as long as you have the money. Now, how much money did I make in April? So currently I've got 11 properties. In April, 7 of them were rented out. The other 4, they were still being furnished, so it wasn't in the market yet. The first property I bought was in Battersea Park. That makes around £590 per month. London Bridge, that makes £421 per month. Vauxhall makes £372 per month. Brixton makes £577 per month. West Hampstead makes £493 per month. I've got 2 flats in one building in Stevenage, which make around £965 per month. The 7 properties which are being rented out, they make around £3,418 per month. In terms of time involvement, once you have a rental property, it's as passive as it gets. I mean, nothing is truly passive because there's always something someone has to do. All the time spent is essentially on acquiring the asset, not on really maintaining it. So in terms of time, I would say a couple hours a month, that's probably sufficient. Now, there is a flip side to this, that you can do property investing with no money at all, but then you have to get very good at the skill of being able to raise money. If you were to go down that route, and in terms of money, I would say it's 1 star, but then in terms of skill, I would say it's 5 out of 5. Okay, so the next source of income is Booking.com. This property, we then put some furniture in there, took some professional pictures, and put this onto Booking.com. On Booking.com, you can rent this property out for 2 nights for £263, which is around £130 per night. In the month of April, which actually wasn't a great month for this property, we made £1,260. In the world of property, if you want to start generating cash flow, that is the single fastest way of getting cash flow in quickly. If you go to Booking.com and click list your property, you can list your property for free within 15 minutes. Not only that, more than 40% of new holiday rental listings get their first booking within a week. So you put something on there within the first week, you have a booking where you're generating cash flow. And so when you get a booking, you go onto the Pulse app, which is the Booking.com app, and that will essentially show you all the bookings. And this is one of the bookings I have in Stevenage. It's from 8th of July to the 17th of July. For 9 nights, I paid £1,130. And the reason that works is because when people are booking holiday rentals on Booking.com, they are comparing the prices to hotels. If you already own an investment property, then all you have to do is put it on Booking.com. You need some money for professional pictures, and that's pretty much it. In terms of how hard this business is, it used to be a lot harder when I started back in 2016 for 2 reasons. 1, because of credit card fraud, and 2nd, the risk of damage to the property. What Booking.com does now under the new program is they actually take all the money from the people booking and then they pass it on to you. And so therefore you get guaranteed payments, fraud protection, and everything else. Essentially what happens is the guest pays Booking.com. Booking.com takes the payment, they facilitate the whole process, and then Booking.com sends you the money, so you know you're guaranteed to get paid out. They also facilitate damage protection payments. So for example, let's say you have a guest coming in and you think, well, they might break something and you want to charge a security deposit. Well, Booking.com can help facilitate that process as well. But by far, the reason this strategy is effective is because you can put your property onto Booking.com without paying anything. 40% of the properties are getting a booking within their first week. And so that allows you to start generating cash flow very, very quickly. So how much money did I make in April? I had 3 properties which are on Booking.com. This 1-bedroom flat, a studio flat, and a 2-bedroom flat. The 3 properties combined made a profit of £1,314.69. Now in terms of skill, in terms of how hard it is, I would say 95% of it is relatively easy. All you have to do is just plug some systems and processes in and you're pretty much good to go. The only hard thing when it comes to this business is finding the right property in the right location. If you can do that part, the rest of it is relatively straightforward. But that part can be a bit more challenging and does require a bit of skill to work out if this area is going to get bookings or if it's not going to get bookings. So give this 3 stars because it is a bit harder than property investing. Now, how much time does that take? Like with everything, it's going to take a lot of time to find your area, find property, speak to landlords. I've also hired virtual staff in the Philippines, and so they help manage the properties. Once you get to that stage, it probably takes me around 1 to 2 hours per month because once again, there isn't that much to do once it's all sort of working robustly. The next income source is YouTube AdSense. Before this video, you would have seen an ad, and every time an ad is placed in front of your video, you get a split of the revenue which YouTube makes. So how much money do you need to get started? Well, you can technically start with nothing. Everyone nowadays has a smartphone. The smartphones have pretty good cameras. You could start with literally no money at all. All you need is a camera, a microphone, and some sort of editing software. You can definitely begin for less than £1,000. How hard is it to make money from YouTube? I would say this is probably one of the hardest ones. With YouTube, because it's a lot more creative, it's kind of hard to work out what works, what doesn't work. Whereas with property, everything is number based. With YouTube, you need a lot more skill sets. So for example, you have to come up with a title. You then have to make a thumbnail. You then have to outline the structure of the video, storytelling, and film it and edit it. Look at the analytics to see which part's doing well, which part's not doing well. With property, it's the complete opposite. You have to work out what's going to make money, and then you hire everyone else to do their thing. So you have a solicitor, you have a broker, you have a builder. You aren't the one who has to be qualified to do all of those things. Whereas with YouTube, you have to know all of those things, otherwise it's not going to work. In terms of how much skill you need, I would say 5 out of 5. Because there is so much you need to learn in order to make it work. So how much money did I make in April? Now, I currently don't have a lot of subscribers relative to a lot of the bigger channels. I've got around 34,000 subscribers at the time I'm making this video. So the main metric to look at to see how much money you're going to make is called RPM, which stands for revenue for every 1,000 views. So for every 1,000 views, this is how much money you make. So in the month of April, I made $7.01 for every 1,000 views. In April, I had a total of 118,300 views, which meant a total revenue of $830.08. Given I don't have a massive channel, I actually don't think that's too bad. If I was to convert that into pounds, it's around £660. Now, how much time did that take? So in the month of April, if I go in my channel, I only made one video, which was this one here. So one video could take around 10 to 20 hours. Here's the thing, that one video didn't make $830. In the month of April, that video made $251, and then all the other videos made up the rest of the money. So for example, my 11-hour property investing course made 167, my 7-hour serviced accommodation course made 157, my property flipping video made 34, I've got another 4-hour course which made about $32. This video here, which made me 167, I released that video 4 months ago, which was on Jan 31st, 2023. So it's not like if you stop making videos, you'll stop making money, because as you make more and more videos, you're essentially building like a back catalog of your videos, and they become an asset, because once that video sits there, as long as it continues getting more and more views, you'll continue to make money. That brings me on to sponsors. Companies will pay to essentially have their product or their service mentioned in your video. Now, there is a big misconception that people think you need a huge audience in order to get sponsors. If I go back to my channel, my first sponsor was in this video here. It was posted in December of 2022. That was by a company who helps people set up limited companies. So my total subscribers on 27 December, 5 days after I posted that video, were 3,440 subscribers, which isn't that much at all. So you don't need a huge channel to get sponsors. When it comes to sponsors, if you have a very niche channel, what that means is that you specialize in a very small domain. So that might be property investing, or that might be, I don't know, portable chargers or something. And you have 4,000 subscribers or 3,000 subscribers who only watch for portable chargers. Then a company who sells portable chargers is more likely to work with you, because they know that 3,000 or 4,000 people who watch you, they're interested in that thing, as opposed to a channel who, let's say, has 40,000 subscribers, but they kind of talk about anything and everything. With sponsors, I do try to make sure that it's a company who's actually reputable, or it's a company who I actually use myself. Because if I'm already using a product, it's quite easy for me to integrate that into my videos, because I know how it works and I know the benefits. If I don't use that product, I still check if the company is credible and if it's something the audience, you guys, would actually be interested in. Now, how much money do you need to get started? Well, it's the same as YouTube, because if you have a YouTube channel and you're getting views, then you'll get sponsors. You don't really have to do anything above and beyond to get sponsors, which involves any sort of money. So you don't really need any money to get started. How hard is it to get sponsors? You can have a tiny channel and still get sponsors. So it's not the hardest thing in the world, but figuring out YouTube is still quite hard, and it requires a lot of work. You have to build a brand, you have to build trust. Even from a sponsor's point of view, they want to see that it's a brand that they actually want to align themselves with. Like YouTube, I would give this 5 stars in terms of skill, because I don't know, I find it quite hard in order to get started with this. So how much money did I make in April? Well, there's 3 types of sponsors. The first one is the 60-second ad in the middle, so that's called a 60-second integration. You then have a full dedicated video, so the entire video is made about that product or service, and then you have a retainer. So a retainer means that a company will pay you a monthly fee, and you'll mention them here and there. It might not have to be in a video, it might just be in a description, it might be on your social media posts. So in the month of April, I had one sponsor, which was on this video here, which I posted in April. And I also had a client who was on a retainer basis. So the total money I made from sponsors in April was £1,250. Now, in terms of how much time that requires, You have to spend a tiny bit of time negotiating, going back and forth. Once you've done the deal with them, you then have to work out what benefits you're going to position, how you're going to integrate that into the video. But overall, I had one sponsor in April. I only had one video out in April. And so that took a couple of hours, and that was pretty much it. So it really doesn't take that much time. The bulk of the time is spent on making the video itself, not on the sponsor part. So next you have affiliates. So the way that works is I have a lot of different links recommending products and recommending services. And if people were to go and buy those products and services, then I get a commission out of those sales. Now, that doesn't cost the people buying anything because they're still paying the normal price just like everyone else, but the amount of money the company makes, I get a portion of their profits because I'm recommending their products. So if I was to recommend a builder or a finance broker, then I would get commission. So if you click the link on my bio or you go to my property help center, you might have something like this limited company sign up link. Now, when you set up a limited company, then I will get a commission out of everyone who signs up. So these are the current affiliates I have. So you have builders, you have finance brokers, you have property apps and platforms. I have a product list on Amazon. Now, in terms of how much money you need to get started, well, again, you don't really need any money. You just have to be able to make content around the stuff you're talking about. And that doesn't even have to be a YouTube video. Affiliate marketing was basically started by people writing blogs, and then in their blog, they would have like a link to, buy a product. So how hard is it? Not only do you have to build an audience, you then have to promote the product, and you also have to build trust with the audience that whatever you're promoting, you're not just doing it because you're making some money out of it. And that's one of the reasons a lot of the products I recommend, like my solicitors, like the planner I recommend, I don't make any money. And I don't mind doing that. I don't want to recommend something which is crap and people end up losing money. I'd rather make a tiny bit of money from the stuff I actually use rather than trying to make money from everything and then people end up losing money and I get a bad reputation. So overall, it's pretty hard because there's a lot of things which have to line up in order to make money from affiliate. So how much money did I make in April? It varies quite a lot depending on the product which you're promoting. So on the cheaper end of the spectrum, I recommend property apps, which you can sign up for around £20 a month. And so I normally make around £4.40 every time someone signs up, which, in the grand scheme of things, isn't that much. Then if I go into something like Amazon, you can see in the last 30 days, I made around £40.44. 607 people clicked on different links. Quite hard to make money from affiliate when you don't have a huge audience. Whereas if I recommend a property builder or if I recommend a property finance company, then the commissions are a lot higher purely because the products are a lot more expensive. If I recommend a builder, the builder's going to quote like £50,000, £60,000. And so even if I was to get a tiny percentage of that, that's going to be significantly more than a £20 product where I'm making £4 here and there. So in the month of April, this was the biggest commission I had, which was £1,268.78. This came because someone signed up to use my property broker. They got a bridging loan out and I got a percentage of that bridging loan. Though the money is good and you get a huge payout at the end if someone does go through, it's a very tiny percentage of people who do actually go through. So in the month of April, the total money I made from affiliates was £2,688.78, which overall is not bad. Now, in terms of how much time that takes, once you have the YouTube videos up and running, this part doesn't really take any time. All you have to do is put a link in the bio on your Instagram and TikTok and Facebook and your YouTube descriptions and those sort of things, and that might take 5 minutes here and there. So I would say affiliate takes around 5 minutes, but it's predicated on you having those video assets in the first place. So the next income source is Skillshare. So Skillshare is essentially an online course platform. So I currently have 2 online courses on Skillshare. One is about property investing, which is a 4-hour course. And then I have a serviced accommodation course, which is around 7.5 hours. So when people sign up to Skillshare and they watch my course, I get paid. So how much money do you need to get started? Well, you can set up a Skillshare account for free. You do need to make a course in relatively good quality, so you do need a decent camera. But by decent camera, it doesn't mean you have to have a very expensive camera. As long as it's a good smartphone which has a good camera, that'll pretty much do. You need the same amount of money as YouTube, which doesn't have to be that much at all. In terms of how hard it is, well, I would say in terms of skill, it's 5 out of 5, purely because making the course isn't hard, but the skill needed, which you're going to teach in the course, is pretty hard. This is how much money I made in April from Skillshare. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be sharing this or not. So the way you make money on Skillshare is 2 ways. So the first one is when people click on your affiliate link and they sign up to Skillshare. I get paid a referral fee, like an affiliate fee. And then the second way you make money is when people actually watch your courses. So you get paid a royalty based on the minutes of your courses watched. Because with Skillshare, it's not like someone's buying my course. They're just signing up to Skillshare. And so when they're on the platform, if they're watching my course over someone else's course, then I should be making more money compared to the other person, purely because the people are coming to Skillshare for my content as opposed to someone else's content. In the month of April, I had 8,039 minutes of my courses watched. In terms of how many people signed up to Skillshare, in the month of April, I had 55 new students who signed up to Skillshare to watch my courses. In terms of how much money that I made, so in the month of April from the affiliate, i.e. how many people signed up, from the 55 people who signed up, I made $549.45. And in terms of the Skillshare Teacher Fund, I made $203. And so in the month of April, I made $753.01 combined. In terms of how much money I made from Skillshare all in, so far I've made $5,375. $1,324 has come from the Teacher Fund, the royalty, and just over $4,000 has come from the referral side of it. So $753.01. That comes to just under £600. So how much time did that take me in April? Well, it didn't really take any time at all because, like I said, similar to affiliates, once you have views coming in, all you have to do is put your product link in different places. So it was on my Notion page, it was on my YouTube, on my social media, and then people filter through, they sign up and you get paid. As long as you have your back catalog of videos or articles or whatever that form is, then you can continue making money without really spending any time on it whatsoever. And finally, the last income source is from property consulting. Currently on YouTube, I have 4 free online courses: a property investing course, which is 11 hours, another property investing course, which is 4 hours, a service accommodation course, which is 7 hours, another service accommodation course, which is 10 hours. If you combine all of that together, I have 32 hours of free property investing courses on YouTube. And if you add up all the views, 550,000 people have watched my online courses completely for free without paying me anything. Now, a tiny percentage of those people then end up getting in touch with me via email, Instagram, social media, saying that they would like to work with me on a one-to-one basis. That might be for a one-off call for an hour, or it might be for 6 months. And so that is how I make money from property consulting. Now, in terms of how much money you need to get started, well, same as YouTube, because the only way I sell consulting is through my YouTube channel. So I just spend time making videos, and then on the back of that, some people get in touch and then they do consulting. In terms of how hard it is, you need to have a skill which people are going to pay you for because they want to acquire that skill. So I would give it a 5 out of 5. So how much money did I make in April? So I currently have 2 products. One is a 1-hour consulting session, and then the second is a 6 to 12 month program, which is longer term basis. In the month of April, I made £19,400 from the consulting. Now, in terms of how much time that takes, I do my sessions on a one-to-one basis. It takes a ridiculous amount of time. I try to limit that to around 5 to 10 hours a week. Now, you could just go all in and you can do 20, 30 hours a week of just consulting, but then you're compromising everything else because, you know, for this to be a sustainable business, you still have to spend time making YouTube videos and doing everything else in order for the entire business to grow. If you spend all of your time just consulting, then fine, you're making good money from, you know, that aspect of the business, but you're not growing the business at the same time. So out of those 7 sources of income, which one should you start from? And I think this graph kind of helps aid that. This is how much money you need to get started. And on the x-axis, this is how much skill you need to get started. And you can see the relationship that there's really only 2 ways of making money. Either you need to start with a lot of money, which you can then just invest in something, or if you don't have a lot of money, you need to spend your time acquiring some sort of skill and you can make money from that skill. If you're in a situation where you already have a lot of money saved up, you can then just invest in property, which requires money but not that much skill, or something like Airbnb, which requires slightly less money than property, but still requires a bit of money. Whereas if you don't have any money whatsoever, then I wouldn't really be doing stuff like this. What I would be doing is I would be working out how you can acquire a skill. You can make money on the back of that skill by using Skillshares, sponsors, consulting, YouTube, affiliates. And so that is how I made £970 per day in the month of April.